Welcome to Empowered Elites team call for November 4th. Before we get started, I just have to give a big, huge shout out to Stephanie. She's not on the call tonight, but she hit diamond rank last week. And I'm super proud of her because her original date was in like December. And she really dove into the leadership role, helping her coaches and challengers, and she made it happen. So I'm super excited for her. She's in Disney right now, so she's not on, but congratulations, Stephanie. Does anybody else have rank advancements they want to shout out before they get started? Oh, I should shout out you, Rachel, for hitting Emerald because Stephanie's not here to shout you out, so congratulations. Anybody else? No. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I felt like social media was something good to talk about because there's a lot of topics that I feel like need to be gone over. But I feel like social media is a really important one because it really affects every other aspect of your business. And it can be a really kind of confusing thing to figure out, especially in the beginning. And the reality is you really only learn what works by doing. And, you know, if you go back and look at my posts from when I started coaching, a lot of them are just things that I would never share now because I didn't know how, but I mean, that's how you learn, you fail forward. So, I wrote down a couple of things that I think will be helpful to you. And then I have a list of people that I'm just going to kind of quickly do a screen share and go to their pages. So I can use some examples of, you know, good ways to utilize social media. And then I'll open it up because I'm sure that you guys have questions on this topic. So by a show of hands, who is not a big fan yet of posting on Facebook, or who feels like it's not an area they're confident in? Okay, good. I'm glad that we're talking about this topic then. So the first thing that I wrote down is, it's a quote about branding, and it says, branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And so figuring out what your brand is super important because I know when I first started coaching, I was really just kind of like talking to the general population and I didn't really care like who wanted my help. I just wanted to help anybody and everybody. And I remember at my first Super Saturday that, you know, we were allowed to ask questions and I asked Allie Upham, who's a superstar diamond coach. I was like, I struggle with talking to men. And she was like, well, why would you want to talk to men? Like, you're a single, busy mom. Like, men are not a part of your niche. And that's fine if, you know, you don't naturally have, you know, males that are attracted to you. So you're doing something right with branding. And I was like, okay. So the reality is like, you have to figure out that not everybody is going to connect to you and not everybody is going to relate to you, but the ones that do are going to get it. And when, you know, you're really honest and open about yourself and your life, and your journey and your story and what you're up to, you're really going to start, attracting the people that are most like you or most, you know, relatable to you. And that's why they call it attraction marketing. So, you know, your brand essentially is the way that I looked at it and the way that I kind of figured out what to post in the beginning for me was think about, you know, the 5 things that are most important to you or the 5 things that you feel, you know, are most important for you to share. And they're a little bit different for every coach depending on who you are and what you love. But, you know, being a busy mom, yes, that is part of a brand. You know, you are in the throes of mom life. You're busy. You're taking care of other people. You know, and there's so many things that you can share about that. Why you have to make yourself a priority. Why working out is stress relief. You know, why you want to be a healthy role model for your kids, for an example. You know, faith might be a big part of your brand. If you're religious and that's something you're passionate about and that's something that you want to share, that's a part of your brand. For me, I share a lot about fitness, but I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like a fitness freak. Some coaches are very, very fitness based more so than anything else. And I feel like more for me, a part of my brand is I love to cook. I love to spend a lot of time in the kitchen and come up with new recipes and healthy things to feed my son and how I can eat healthy on a budget. So those are all things that are a part of my brand. I share a lot about overcoming obstacles in general in life, in the day-to-day life as well. That is a part of my brand. That's a part of who I am. So if you can really figure out those things that you feel, are most importantly speak to who you are and what you're about, and you start sharing around those topics, you're going to start seeing that you attract different people to you. Another example that I didn't give is maybe you're an animal lover. There's a lot of top coaches that share a lot about their dogs or their cats or whatever. Like that is a part of the brand. So once you figure out, take the time to sit down and think about what is it that you really feel are, 5 things that you're most passionate about and that you want to share about. And make it easier for yourself, because if you don't have a clear-cut idea of what your brand is and what you're trying to attract, you're just going to be all over the place. And it's going to be really hard to come up with social media posts every day because you have no clear-cut idea of what the things you should be sharing are. And it's more hurtful than it is helpful. So figure out what those things are for you and sit down and, write out a list. And maybe when I started, I had a list of 15 things. And I had, art and hobbies and all these things on there. And, you kind of have to narrow it down to the most important things that speak to who you are. The next thing, with this attraction marketing, a great thing to think about is when you're writing a post, what is something that somebody is following you would like to hear, or what was something that you would have liked to read or you would have liked to hear? What was is something that would inspire you or that might inspire somebody like you when you're writing your post. So, for example, I don't know if you guys saw, but I made a post on Tuesday, and it was a picture of me from 3 years ago and a picture of me a lot more recently. And I shared a lot about, I didn't really share anything about fitness or nutrition or coaching or anything to that aspect, but I shared how I have changed as a person. My confidence levels, how I've always struggled with self-worth and self-doubt and all those things. And those are things that are very real and very true to me. But allow people to emotionally connect to me and relate to me. And I got a couple messages from women saying that was just, I felt like I was reading it about me. And that's what you want. You want to think what is going to hit home when somebody reads it? What are things that you see on Facebook and you read them and you take a screenshot because you're like, I want to remember this and I want to go back and I want to think about it. Think about what can be most impactful and attract those people to you when you're writing it. This is a thing that, Melanie Mitchell, who's the top coach of the year, says she does all the time. When she, and Bonnie Engel does this as well, when they have, people that come to them with objections or, struggles or whatever it is, the reality is that a lot of people are probably struggling with the same things or the same thoughts. So if you can come up with a post about that, you're going to help a broader range of people. So, if you're working out, instead of just posting a sweaty selfie, take the time to write a paragraph and say, how you make it work for yourself as a busy working woman or a busy mom, why spending 30 minutes a day on you is a priority and how you make it work for you. Because the reality is a lot of people don't think that that's possible for them, because I know I didn't. Time was an excuse for me in the beginning, and it was more so that it wasn't a priority to me. So think about the people that you want to connect with and what they want and need to hear. The next thing, and this is a big one, and I think oftentimes it's, just so overlooked. But consistency in your own journey. It's not saying that you have to be going 100% all in at all times, but you have to be doing your best and you have to be living this lifestyle, because it is very hard to speak to it and how it's changed your life and be passionate about it if you are not living this every single day, and if you are not doing your best to do your workouts and drink your Shakeology and eat healthy and be inspired with your personal development. You know, if you are not constantly working on your own personal journey, you're going to run out of stuff to share. Like, you're going to feel uninspired and unmotivated, and it's going to reflect in your posts and in how you talk to people. So my suggestion is, if you're not doing a program full out right now, and you're not fully committed to something, you know, take the time and sit down to think about, like, I know for me, I took this week to just kind of do like anything workouts because my body really needed a break. And next week I'm going to start 21.
Dana, so like 5 of us were just on the Infinity call, like all sitting there like, where's Dana? And they're like, there's not that many people.
We're like, we'll just have our own call. What do you like? What do we do?
I know, I'm like, where are my coaches? I don't understand what's going on.
Sorry, guys.
And then we're like, wait, maybe we're the ones on the wrong call.
Well, that proves how much you read what's written in the post.
I just clicked Zoom.
Okay. I'm going to mute you now. Okay. Well, I'm glad you found us. So what I was saying was, you have to be fully committed to your own journey. And this is not to say you need to be perfect and that you're not going to have off days or you're not going to struggle. But for you to really help people to your best ability, and for you to really be able to continue to inspire people, you have to be continuously having transformations, and not just physically, but, you know, the harder you work to commit yourself to a program. I know that with every single program that I have completed and I have taken pictures from and I have shared those, I have not only, you know, developed physically with, you know, transformation, but it's helped me mentally so much, because I know that I can stay consistent. I know that I can be committed to something. I know that I can fight through those days where I don't really want to work out. Or I really just want to go eat, you know, something I shouldn't be eating, or go get a sugary, junky coffee, whatever it is. But me staying committed and doing my best to stay committed to my goals helps me help coach my people through those things, because I'm living it and I'm going through that same process right along with them, and I'm in the trenches with them. And it's going to help you so much connect to your challengers, because when they come to you and they say, I really just don't have time to work out more than 3 days a week. You know, if they really are committed to getting the results they want to get to, then you need to figure out, how can you help them make that a priority in their day? Do they need to get up a half an hour earlier? Do they need to do it on their lunch break? You know, do they need to stop scrolling on Facebook for an hour and a half at night so that they can get their workout in? Whatever it is, but if you're living this journey and you're doing it yourself, you're going to be able to share that better. And it's going to reflect in your Facebook post, because you're excited about what you're doing and you're sharing, you know, about your journey. And you're going to constantly have a new progression to share. Don't think that, you know, once you have your first or your second transformation, that you can just stop sharing transformation photos. Because if you look at any top coach in this company, they share their transformation photos often. People need that visual. And like I said, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to have, you know, insane shredded results. You just have to show that you're progressing and you're trying and you're better than you were yesterday or last week or a month ago. So like I said, if you're not fully committed, pick a program and commit, and, you know, ride it out through the holidays and do your best to share your journey to inspire other people that this can be done, because that is what people need right now. People don't think that it's possible to be consistent through the holidays with parties and sweets and, you know, baked goods and candy bowls at work and all this stuff. Like, we have to meet people where they're at. And that's the reality this time of year, that people find a lot more excuses than they do at any other time of year. And we have to show them and lead by example that this is possible to have a healthy, balanced lifestyle. The next thing I wrote down is that your social media posts, they, you need to be really intentional about them. And I'm not saying that they all have to be, long, drawn out posts, but you don't want to just throw things up to throw them up. So, some big no-nos, sharing stock photos. So, sharing photos that are of, a Shakeology bag, or of, the 21-day fix promo, or things like that. Don't share those, guys. You're not a billboard. You're a coach. You're a person. You're human. You're on a journey. You have a story. You have things to share. You have value to add to people, and you are not adding value to anybody by sharing a stock photo. Plain and simple. Other things, if you see something you like, even if it's a picture that you like, or, quote that you like or something, instead of sharing that, learn how to turn it in and make it your own, so you can use that concept, you can use that quote or that picture or something, but instead of just taking it and sharing it or throwing it up there, take a few minutes to make it your own and share why it was something that stuck out to you, so that it relates people back to you. The next thing, and I've mentioned this before, but negativity. We all have negativity and hard things going on in our life, and that's okay. What I am going to say is that when you are able to share, if you feel like you need to share something negative that's going on in your life, we have to always be conscious to try and share it in a way of that we're finding a solution, or we're working to overcome it, or this is our plan of what we're doing every day to make that situation better. Because otherwise it's just like the rest of the 99% of people that you see on Facebook that are just posting negative stuff. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't inspire me at all. And it doesn't make me want to stop and scroll and read what they have to say either. So do your best to kind of, I guess, double check things before you post them and think, is this really helpful? Is it really necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it helping someone or inspiring someone? Now, I wrote down, and I don't know how many of you were on the call with Chelsea Pearson, but I loved how she said creating content that comes from the three vital behaviors. So the things that she wrote down were, what am I struggling with? What inspired me today? How have I grown since yesterday? Who do I want to be tomorrow? What's my biggest excuse? What is my plan to conquer it? What does success look like to me? What am I challenging myself with? How did the old me think? What am I hopeful about? What was a light bulb moment that I had? And how did I win today? So those are all questions that she came up with surrounding things about, about the vital behaviors. So for example, what inspired you today? How have you grown since yesterday? Who do I want to be tomorrow? Those all are things that are kind of reflections from your personal development. And if you're working on you every single day, because reality is, if you're working on you every day, then you are being inspired every single day, and you are growing, and you have grown since yesterday. And you maybe have more of a clear idea of who you want to be tomorrow or in the future. What is your biggest excuse right now, and how do you plan to conquer it? And are you challenging yourself? So like I just said, are you committed to something? Are you committed to overcoming your excuses? Because let's be honest, yes, we're coaches, but we're real and we're human and we have struggles too. We are not, celery stick eating robots that follow everything to a T. So, being able to share what you struggle with and how you're conquering it is inspiring to people. because it shows them what's possible for them. So the next thing that I wrote down, and a couple, Rachel actually last week posted something that she's doing in respects to this. And I can post in the team page what Chelsea Pearson shared as her weekly posting plan, but having a running calendar, especially if social media is something that you struggle with, kind of a calendar that gives you ideas of what to post and when to post it and how to be balancing all the aspects of your brand that you want to be sharing so that you're not sharing too much of one thing and not enough of the other. For example, maybe you share a lot about fitness, but you don't share it all about nutrition. So I think it's going to be a little different what works for everybody. I know personally, like I tried to make a social media calendar and I don't like it. Like I didn't like to stick to it to a T. Like I will stick to the idea of different examples. So I make sure I'm having, different kind of content, but I didn't like to plan out exactly what I was going to post and exactly when I was going to post it, because when I get inspired about something, that's when I feel like I really share, the most valuable things that are coming from me. So, but I would suggest if you aren't somebody that wants to stick to a calendar, that you do have an ongoing list of ideas that you can use for social media. So maybe, you're listening to personal development, and something inspires you or makes you think about something you can post. Write that down in a notepad in your phone. Maybe you drive, this is a random idea, but like I drive by when I go to my mom's to drop Declan off, like I did tonight before the call, I drove past McDonald's, and I swear to God, no matter what time I drive by that McDonald's, there's 30 cars in line there. So that is something that makes me think like convenience and healthy eating is something that a lot of people struggle with. So that's a post idea I could use. Who knows? It can seriously be anything, but if you have ideas that pop into your head, or you see somebody share something, another coach share something on social media that you think, wow, I really like that concept, or I really like what she has to say, write that down so that when you're struggling to share something, you can go back to that list and, remind yourself of something that is of value and something that you can share. I am going to now, let me just make sure that there's nothing else I wanted to go over from that list. She made this, she made a Facebook 101, like a prime time. And I think a couple of the things that she said on it were really helpful. And she said, go public with your posts. And, my opinion of this is a little different because I personally, my Facebook is not public. It never has been, and it probably never will be. But that's because of, personal situations. So I chose to do it that way. And I knew that I was going to have to add to my network very consistently if I didn't want that to be a hinder for me. So if you don't want to go public, that's fine. You can select which posts you want to make public as you go, and that's what I do. So make sure your cover photo is meaningful. I put this in the New Coach Bootcamp, but your profile picture matters. Is it something where people can clearly see your face and, get a little idea of your personality by your profile picture? And your cover photo is important, because your Facebook is like your business page. So when people come to your Facebook, do they get an idea of who you are and what you're about or what your lifestyle is when they look at your cover photo on your Facebook? Because if it's just a random picture of anything, it's just something that they look at and scroll right by. But if it has something where maybe you have a transformation photo, or you have, Kelly's a good example for this. She just made a new cover photo. She has her kids on there. She has outdoors activities. You can clearly tell she's into fitness. Have something there that people can get an idea of who you are and what you're about when they come to your Facebook page. And you can simply make a cover photo by using PicMonkey.com. It's free. You can, add pictures, add text, add whatever you want, make it pretty, put it on your Facebook, and that alone makes your Facebook a lot more professional looking when people come there. Videos are a really awesome thing that are often overlooked, because sometimes it can be intimidating to share videos. But videos, the way that Facebook works, they pop up in news feeds a lot more so than just general text post or picture posts do. So, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, I share random videos of my kids sometimes just because, it gets people's eyes on you, and it is a part of my brand, being a mom. I made a video about size the other day, and did I suck at the workout? Yes. But did I have fun, and do I care what people think? Not really so much anymore. So, you can, even if you're doing a 21-day fix workout, you don't have to do anything fancy. Just make a video of you doing one of your, arm moves, because people don't know what your workouts entail and they have no clue. And so why not give them a visual? And videos will go viral. You'll get a lot more traction on videos than you do just regular posts. So if you can mix those in, that's a great idea. The other thing that this is super important, when people comment on your posts, make sure that you go and you respond to every single comment, because the more comments that you write on, the more that it's going to keep bringing it back up in the newsfeed, because Facebook says this is something that's important for other people to see. So don't just like people's comments, go back and write a response. It doesn't have to be anything, time consuming, but just a, hey, thank you, or whatever, you need to write. Just make sure you're commenting on everything. She suggested if it's a post that you want to be seen and it, wasn't seen a lot the day that you posted it, to go back the next day, and she called it resurrect your post by tagging yourself in it. Because it'll bring it back up in the newsfeed. Let's see, affinity. She said affinity takes time. I'm mentioning affinity is that, Facebook has this thing called edge ranking. So when you make a typical post, probably about 2% of your friends actually see it. And the way that it's seen more is being liked and comment. And that's why it's so important to be putting things out there that are of value, or that people are going to like and comment on, because the more that you do that, the more your Facebook affinity is going to grow, and the more that your posts are going to be seen. And that, takes time, because especially when you're new, you might not get a lot of traction on your post, but the more consistent you are and the longer that you do it, the more traction you're going to find that you get. So just keep at it. And this is a good one. This is one that I've always said, is that remember that people are always watching. People are not always going to comment or like what you're doing, but I can guarantee you that people are always watching what you're up to. And I've had people come to me after a year and say, I've been watching your journey and I've been watching your story, and I didn't even know. Like, I had no clue. I've never talked to them. They've never liked anything. They've never commented. But if you're showing up and you're consistent with your posts to a point where you're, you're not overloading people, like you're not posting 25 times a day where people are like, God, I just want to block this girl. But you're posting enough that you're visible and that you're seen and that people are seeing what you're up to, people are going to be following you, even if you don't realize it. So, don't get discouraged if you don't think that you have a lot of people following you. That comes in time, and people are definitely watching. So, is there any questions about anything I just covered that you guys have before I move on? No? Okay. You can tell me if you think this is going to be helpful. Just raise your hand. But I was going to quickly go do a screen share and go into a couple of the coaches that I liked to follow a lot when I was new, just to kind of give you an idea of things that they share and maybe give you some ideas of how to share differently on Facebook. Would that be helpful to you guys? Yeah. Kelly, don't give me that look. Okay, let me screen share.
I was just zoning out thinking that was a good idea, actually.
Okay. All right. Can you guys all see my screen now? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see it? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to start with Carly Del Carlo because I think she's awesome and she's a perfect example of somebody who's been a coach for a while now, but she is constantly sharing her transformations. You know, that is the first thing you see when you go to her page. And let's scroll down and see. So she's a mom. She likes to cook. There you go again with the transformation. And she didn't say anything really, you know, big or profound, but a simple little comment just like that. Every accomplishment starts with a decision to try is really impactful, and it's true. You know, so don't think that you always have to make long, drawn out posts. It's actually good to vary the length of things because not everybody always reads things that are long. So you can clearly see that she's into working out. She's into reading. She's a woman of faith. Workout video, just what I mentioned. So in a nutshell, I can go to her page and I can look at her last 10 posts and I can get exactly an idea of who she is. She's had an incredible transformation. She's a mom. She likes fitness. She likes to cook. And she invests in herself with reading. So it took me, 30 seconds to look at her page and get an idea of exactly who she is and what she's about. And that's what you want with branding and sharing on social media. Allie Upham, I'm actually going to look at her. Allie Upham is one of the first coaches that I gravitated to when I started. She runs my Super Saturdays, and she was homeless when she started coaching. She was living on a couch in a spare bedroom of a friend. And I was just so drawn to her story of all that she overcame and the incredible thriving team and you know, business that she's been able to build. I'm going to go to her other page so you can, I don't think this is really showing me what I want to see. But she is a coach that is a good example. She is very fitness focused. She is a trainer. She is I can't even think of the name of it right now, but okay, well that's gone now. But she is all about fitness. You know, that is a big part of her niche, and how she got into coaching was because she wanted to be a turbo instructor the rest of her life, and that's how she fell into coaching. So people that are really attracted to fitness are going to be attracted to Allie. She shares a lot about her faith, her family, her marriage. She's kind of quirky, you know, she shares a lot about liking to dance, and she just really, her personality shines very brightly through her posts. But again, you know, you can go to her page and you can scroll through the last 10 posts and see exactly what she's about. And here's a good example of sharing an obstacle. What she says right here: I have every reason not to work out right now. And then she shares, it's going to be hard, it's going to hurt, but I know it's all going to be worth it. There's people counting on me, and I'm counting on myself. Easy, relatable, impactful, adding value. The next person I'm going to show you is Chelsea. And Chelsea is one of my favorites. She is one of the ones I just shared some of the things that she had shared on a call with our team. Chelsea shares a lot about faith. She shares a lot about her husband. She shares a lot about business and, you know, entrepreneurship. And the posts that she writes are just incredible. And she's a perfect example. I'm trying to find one. she's a perfect example of somebody that is able to be a professional storyteller. So when you read their words, they really evoke emotion, and you almost can feel what she's feeling or feel what she's thinking when she writes things. This is a good one, for example, and I'm just going to leave it here so you can kind of quickly look over it. But tell me if you get to the bottom and you don't feel anything. So she says, failure defined me, words defined me, approval defined me, permission defined me. Those are things that are so emotionally tied that so many people and so many women can relate to, that I just think are incredible things to share. So if those are things that you struggle with, those are topics that you can share about. Don't be afraid to embrace the fact that you fail. Don't be afraid to share the fact that, you've sought approval. I shared that in a post the other day that I sought approval for a lot of years of my life in not so great places. That she says she always had to ask for permission, and permission defined her. So really owning who you are and what you want and where you're going, and putting that out there for the world, that you don't have to ask permission to do what you want to do and be who you are and be proud of that. Those are things that, like I said, digging a little deeper to the emotional side of your journey are things that are going to relate people to you. You have to balance that in with the fitness and the nutrition, because that is not all you are about, and you have way more to offer than that. Anita Myron is a great one. She talks a lot about how she is a walking, talking vital behavior, if you've ever heard a call done by her. But like I said, with a cover photo, I can go to her page and I can instantly see she's into fitness. She's had a transformation. She's a mom. She's a wife. You can read her shirt, the dream and the hustle. So I get an idea instantly of what she's about. I'm going to scroll down and see. She shares a lot about, I guess, kind of what she's up to more so than some coaches do. But, this is a good idea. She's sharing that she's working on herself through personal development and that she's eating something healthy. And she says, have you ever taken yourself out on a date? I think that's cute. I probably would have never taken myself out on a date a couple years ago because I wasn't confident enough to. So that speaks to her. Let's see what else she's got on here. She's a dog mom. She, like I said, a lot of top coaches share about, their animals, because that's something that attracts a lot of people. Animal lovers and love fellow animal lovers, right? So she's sharing with her kids. She's inviting to a free challenge of how to kick the candy. I mean, that looks pretty cool. I would join something like that. So it pops. It makes you stop the scroll. It's easy to read. It's clean. It's a good visual. And I can guarantee you she made that on PicMonkey, because I've seen all those things on there. Like I said, PicMonkey.com. But it's easy to see with all of these coaches that in a very quick glimpse, you can get a great idea of what they are about. Bonnie Engel, I want to share, because Bonnie Engel has had massive success, and she has not been a coach for very long. And she is just very out there who she is. She doesn't care. She makes a ton of goofy faces, posts a ton of selfies. And she talks a lot in her posts about how coaching has changed her life. She shares that often, physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How she was in $200,000 of debt less than 2 years ago, and how Beachbody has changed her life. So this is something that, she shares about that I think are a great way to think about meeting people where they're at. So she's talking about Starbucks and how $4 coffees seem expensive, but they're hundreds of dollars spent extra things every month that were robbing her wallet and her health. I was somebody that did that before I started coaching. I used to go and get coffee every single day. And that's a good way for you to say like, hey, I'm investing $4 in my health and spending it on Shakeology now. And it was an easy trade out for coffee, things like that. And the picture really doesn't have that much to do with it, but it is cute and it stops your scroll and it makes you look at it. Let me see what else. Dogs. So she's sharing her journey on a mission to be in the best shape of my life by New Year's Eve. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to slow down for the next 2 months of the year, she's sharing how she's going to push through it and what her plan is. 60 days, not 60 days of celery and being miserable, but 60 days till the end of the year. Will you for once feel like the best you when the ball drops? Awesome. Let's see. One of the things I mentioned earlier was that Bonnie Engel, when she has objections, whether it's to coaching or to prices or time or whatever that is, she then goes and turns those objections into a post because she knows that those are common objections from a majority of people. I thought this was a cute idea. She said how it's taboo to give people health and fitness gifts for Christmas because that's not the norm, but food and wine are. So why is it that January 1st comes around and everybody wants to get all into health and fitness? And I mean, that's in the mind of a lot of people. And I thought it was a really unique way to share that, that health is important at this time of year as well. And I mean, honestly, if you go and read her posts, it's like you can read like she's talking to you in a conversation. Like they're not these super structured, like she laughs a lot. She uses a lot of emojis. So if that's your personality, then do it. Really be true to you and your wording and how you share. Because if you're trying to be like anybody you're not, it's not going to work out for you. And I promise the more that you come into your own and just embrace your uniqueness, the better off you're going to do with posting on Facebook. And the last one I wanted to share is Brandy Bots. So Brandy Bots is a lot more focused on nutrition than some of the other coaches you see are, because she had a lot of health issues when she started coaching. I'm going to try and find something that she writes about it. Let's see. And all of you that are afraid to take selfies, as you can see, a common theme with all of these coaches, they love to take selfies. But they're selfies with a purpose is what I like to call them. They're not just you posting a selfie with intention of getting a ton of likes, because you have pretty makeup on. They're selfies with intention, selfies that are adding value to people. So let's see here. Oh, she was at the Tony Robbins event. So you can see she's investing in herself. I'm trying to find something about her nutrition because that is something she shares a lot about, but maybe not recently. Here we go. Healthy Fit Fam. She's kind of sharing in a funny way that she said, because she says, don't judge me. No meat, extra guacamole. How many people love Chipotle and would stop the scroll and look at a post like that? But she's adding value by saying it's a choice. No matter if you're on the go, you can make good choices. I've been traveling a ton and I've treated myself all the time. If I treated myself all the time, I wouldn't be happy. So she's adding value by sharing how she stays on track while she's traveling. I'll show you one more and then we'll be done. This is a Coach Wanted post for those of you that are, trying to come up with ways to share the business opportunity. It is a great idea to go to top coaches pages and see how they share the business opportunity, what their pictures look like, what they say, or even for challenge group posts. Don't think you have to recreate the wheel and come up with all of this on your own. I'm not saying copy their words, but you can absolutely get ideas from other people, seeing what works for them. Here's a sleepy selfie. Those dreams won't chase themselves. And she's sharing about being a busy mom, and how she didn't feel like working out. Some days it's hard, some days it's easy. Relatable to most moms that are tired and need coffee. But anyways, I hope that gives you an idea. A couple other names that I wrote down for this is Alyssa Shoemaker, Micah Folsom, Raina Odell, and Megan Ewaldson is another good one. Let's see. Megan Ewaldson's a lot more fitness focused as well, but she comes through very clearly that she is a busy mom, and how she makes herself and her fitness and her healthy lifestyle a priority. I might be on her wrong page, but typically she has a lot of posts of like I said, videos of little fitness tidbits. Like it might be just 1 or 2 moves, but it's adding value for people that don't know what they're doing when they're working out. This is a great idea of a cover photo that shows exactly what she's about in 2 seconds when you look at it. So she's into fitness. She's clearly in great shape. She's a mom. She has 3 babies, so she's probably really busy. And she's a wife. So family is important to her. And she said, she who has a why can endure any how. I love that, but it's simple and impactful and shows you exactly what she's about. So let's see now. Those are all the ones I'm going to cover for you guys tonight. I hope that gives you a little, I guess, idea of different ways you can be creative about posts. And I would encourage you to think outside the box. Don't always think that you have to be sharing, a sweaty selfie or a Shakeology selfie. Really dig deep and think about what this journey is doing for you emotionally, or what coaching is doing for you. There are so many different topics that you can share about in the realm of your daily life and what you do and your routine. And it's important to make sure that you're sharing you, not just, fitness and nutrition, because that is not all you are, and that is not all you have to offer. And in regards, to sharing coaching, because I know a lot of you are saying you're struggling with sharing the coaching opportunity. It's a really great idea to kind of pinpoint things that you love about coaching and work those into posts. So, maybe coaching has given you a really great sense of community, of positivity, by being surrounded by people and women who are inspiring and empowering and lifting you up and accepting you as you are and encouraging you to be better. That is something that you don't necessarily off the top of your head think of maybe when you think about how do I share this opportunity, but those are things that a lot of people are looking for. I know I never felt like I fit in anywhere until I found, my Team Beachbody family. Like, it sounds kind of corny, but it's true. So don't think that it always has to be about I'm making money as a coach, or, you're always sharing that you have challenge groups going on. Share whatever it is to you, the benefits, the things that have added value to your life by being a coach and being on a journey like you are. Really think about those things and how you can share them in a way that is going to attract people to you, and speak to who they are and what they need to hear. So I hope that this is helpful. I don't want to keep you guys late because it's already almost 9:30, but the last thing I will say, and you guys have heard me say this before, is you've got to be vulnerable. You've got to put yourself out there and share things that maybe are really scary to share at first. I know this is true because that's exactly how I felt before I started sharing anything that was vulnerable. And up until that point, all I had shared about was healthy food and fitness and whatever. I never shared about any obstacles I had overcome, whether it was overcoming an eating disorder or losing my dad or overcoming physical injuries, whatever, being a single mom, any of those things. I was afraid to share those things, more so out of judgment probably than anything else. And the more that I worked on me and the more that I had confidence in myself, the more that I realized I was doing people a disservice if I wasn't sharing things that I had gone through and overcome, because there is people that can relate to the emotions of things that you have worked through, that you are able to provide value to help them get through, even if it's just something that inspires them for the next 10 minutes of their day. That still matters. Don't think that if it's, not this crazy, thing that is just going to change somebody's life in one post, that it's not something of value, because the reality is people need inspiration and people need motivation every single day like we do. And the more that you can play into that, especially on an emotional level, by sharing things that have formed you and shaped you as a person and helped you become who you are and brought you to where you are now, is going to inspire people to overcome things more so maybe than they are right now. Because I know when I started, I sure as hell needed a lot of inspiration. So the more the better. And, think about what it is that you can put out there that makes you stand out. So I hope this was helpful. Does anybody have questions or suggestions or comments or anything they want to add that is working for them? No?
I'll say something.
Go ahead.
I already talked about this on the phone earlier, but I like to do like an audit of my Facebook page, since I do have the like page that I mainly, use. I tag myself in the posts that I want seen on those pages, but I'll go back and I'll look and see if my, in the top 5 of my posts, if someone's going to be able to tell that I'm a health and fitness coach. And a lot of times I can see, people will tag me in pictures or will tag me in a status, and I'll have to go down quite a few, pages to find something. So I'm like, clearly I haven't shared enough.
Facebook. Protect it like it's gold.
Yeah. So it always encourages me to like go back and, think about my day or something that's triggered something for me to share. And I always get positive feedback. I might not be sharing enough, but the ones I'm sharing are quality and people are really, it's causing great traffic. So
yeah,
just something cool to do.
I do that often as well. And I did say that earlier in the team page, that a good gauge of how well you are sharing is to go to your Facebook page and look at your last, 10 to 20 posts and see, would you know what you're about? Would you know what your lifestyle is? Would you be inspired by you? Would you be somebody that you want to follow by looking at your posts? And it's a really good gauge as to what you need to share more of or less of, or, develop more. And yeah, so thanks for sharing that, Megan. Kelly, my peanut gallery, you're quiet tonight.
I don't know. It was good. I feel like all of a sudden, I don't know, I just feel like it clicks one day. Like if you just focus on, like Dana said, just like living it, then you just realize, like, I don't know, it's just all about stories. It's more natural when you're living it day to day, and then you can just share like what you're doing. It doesn't have to be a plastered picture of like Shakeology. Like if you can just speak to like, I'm doing this and I had this, and thank God I had my energy. I don't know. I don't know. It's so hard to explain because I feel like all of a sudden it just clicks when you just make it, when you don't think about it so much almost.
Well, when you're living it realistically day to day, when you are living it, when you are walking the walk that you're preaching, you're walking your talk.
It's definitely harder when you're not doing the things that you should be doing. Then you're like, oh no, now I have to post on social media and like, what did I do today? I had pizza and like hated myself because I ate and didn't work out. And now what do I do?
It's not even that though, but I know for me, like if I miss a day of personal development, I
Yeah.
find it really hard to share something that's inspired because I personally don't feel inspired.
Don't feel inspired. Yeah.
And it's really hard to half-ass something that's inspirational. Let's just be honest. Like you can't really pull that out of nowhere if it's not something you're feeling. So constantly working on you is extremely important because you can't fill other people up if you're not filling yourself up first.
I always think about that. If I don't know what I'm posting or if I feel like I'm not inspired, then that means I need to work on me a little bit more.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
Well, I was just going to say what we were talking about today, that like I didn't know Dana from a hole in the wall, and I started, truthfully, she was on a mom's group that I was on, and she started sharing bits and pieces of her story. And because I think some people are struggling with only sharing when they're sort of like inviting to a challenge group, and I just don't think that works nearly as well. I think it's really good if you get people interested in you where they're like, oh, I wonder what Laura's posted about today. Like,
Attraction marketing.
Anything cool to say, or what, like people say, oh, I've really been following you. I love some, they might not love everything I post, but they love some of the stuff you post. But Dana intrigued me with her posts and being inspired. And then like, when I finally reached out to her, I was kind of like, I don't really care. I just want to do whatever you're doing. So I'm not gonna, I'm kind of the type of person, I talked to her about it and then waited 2 months, and I called her back and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Sign me up for whatever it is. Like, I'll do whatever. And I didn't, because some of your people, I think, or some of my people too, like really research it and look into it first. And you just want them to trust you, not that they can't look into it, but you want them to trust you because they've followed your journey and because they've seen what you do and how it's changed your life, and if you just post about challenge groups, I mean, they can go find anybody posting about challenge groups. You can put in the Facebook box challenge groups, and there's like thousands that they could, coaches they could reach out to. So I don't know. I think Dana attracted me, and you need to figure out how to attract your ideal customer and coach, and that's something I'm still working towards also, but I try to reflect the way, like figure out how Dana attracted me and do that to the people I want to attract. Basically. That made sense.
Yes. I'm glad.
Hey, Dana.
Yes.
Hi. I just want to say something really quick. First of all, it's my first call, so I'm really happy to be here. But I don't know if you guys have heard of Rachel Brathen. She's on Instagram as Yoga Girl, but she just did a TED Talk on social media and authenticity on social media. So that might be something that you guys would be interested in watching.
Authenticity is key. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Rachel Brathen. She the girl that does all the crazy like upside down yoga moves, or is that somebody else?
She does a lot of crazy yoga moves, but she shares, she's got like this insane following on Instagram, and she just started this organization called 108 TV, and it's for yoga specifically, but also for just like all around like mental, spiritual, emotional, and nutritional health. And then she also started a 109, which is a worldwide like helping people get access to fresh water, or helping animals find homes that are stranded in Aruba, just like random worldwide projects.
Cool. Awesome. I will have to find that and share it with the team.
I will try and find it and send it to you.
All right. Because authenticity is huge in this. The more that you can grow into who you are and just be yourself with no apologies, the better off you are. And the higher confidence you're going to have in everything that you do with coaching. So yeah, I think we're going to call it a night because it's 9:35 and I could probably talk for 3 hours if I was allowed to, but Thank you guys for getting on. If you have any questions over the next couple of days about anything I mentioned, just post them in the team page, and I will also post the picture of the social media schedule that Chelsea Pearson used. And I can also post the slides that I took screenshots of when she did that call. But if you haven't seen the recording of it, you should watch it, and I'll have to find where that is too. But thanks, guys, for getting on, and have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dana.